we encountered technical issue. I hope that I could be able to join us soon or back so that we'll continue from where we left off. We're having an exciting moment, but I guess I, I'm sorry about that. And I'm waiting for him to connect now.
Okay, okay, I'm back.
Okay. Ike, we were talking about your childhood. Growing up for you,
Mhm.
memorable moments that take you a very long time to forget. Probably when you were you were acting funny or something like that, or you were trying to act your age, and then any standout moment for you.
So, so you're asking me, is there any moments that stand out in my childhood?
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, really, man, my whole entire childhood, I think it was great. Because, like I said, I got to really, I got to meet a lot of people, a lot of my good friends today. A lot of my Nigerian friends going to different parties. Like I said, I mean, to me, that was fun. Going to weddings, that used to be fun. I used to get in so much trouble at these weddings because they would last all night, and it would just be me and my friends just running around, and that's some of the funnest. That's some of the funnest times that I can remember as a childhood. Not even doing anything with basketball, but we just used to be at these parties just that last all night to the like 2, 3 in the morning, and just drinking Maltex and just having a good time.
So how did you cope with your parents who were Nigerians, and then we know that black people are disciplinarians. They won't take all those things from sneaking out and staying all night for parties. How did you cope? How were you able to maneuver and then make your way out through all this stuff?
For me, it was easy because um, I just followed the lead of my siblings and my brothers. I mean, they did a good job of embracing the culture, and like I said, we were just all just proud to be Nigerian. We never wanted to be anything other than Nigerian. We didn't try to fit in by disassociating ourselves from Africans. And I think my parents did a good job too of always making sure that we mingled with other Nigerians that were just like us. So it was easy. It was easy for me because I just followed the lead of my brothers.
I spoke with some of your teammates, and then they describe you as this quiet person who doesn't joke much around, but when he wants to crack a joke, it's always boom, and then everybody will go laughing. Um, Quiet person off the court, but very explosive on the court. At what big, and then you told us about your background, which for many was kind of wild, going for parties, staying out at all out of night and all that. At what point in your life did you become this reserved person who became so
uh, I think I've always been like that because that's how my dad is. My dad is a real reserved individual, real intelligent, real intellectual. Doesn't really say too much. Um, so I have to thank the Honorable Dr. Edward Diogu for that. I take after him.
I'm asking you, at what stage did you discover yourself to be, oh, I'm not just this person who all the time, but I like my me time. I like to listen to my music, and then when it comes to basketball, okay, let me go and play, and then come back home. At what stage did you turn to that?
Again, I mean, I think I've always, to be honest with you, I think I've always been like that. Especially once you start playing overseas, and you're in different countries, you just, I mean, you just develop a routine. Really, you go to practice. Like for instance, playing in China. I don't speak Mandarin, so I didn't really hang out with my teammates much after practice. So then you just go home and meditate on what you have to do, and kind of just go back and you have that same routine. Really, I just think that I've just always been that type of person that has always been low key, so to speak. I've never been a wild guy, so to speak. I've just always been kind of just quiet and reserved. But I was like that as a baby, so my mom says. My mom says I was. Oh yeah, that's what my mom says too.
Okay. You spoke about your brothers were also into sports as being the leading example for you in your who was the most supportive amongst your mom or your dad when it comes to now basketball supporting?
I think earlier on, I mean, they were both supportive, but for them, it was more about education. Um, that's what they were big on. So they didn't really care about the points and everything. It was all about just, being able to get a good education and that type of thing. But then in high school, once I started getting more recognized and more popular, that's when my parents started really tuning in and being real big fans. But they were both definitely supportive. But earlier on, it was all about education, and my both of my parents are both educators, so that was the main thing growing up, which is always just education, education.
Now, being resilient and then being able to stay true to what you really desire, and and convincing them that this was the life you wanted, the basketball. How easy was it?
Say that one more time.
Being, they first resisted your attempts to play basketball, telling you that you have to face your education. Then, how was it easy, or how did you now turn around that meant to convince them that okay, you have to support me in this my chosen career, and then for them now to turn around and support you?
I think that it wasn't hard because they started seeing the notoriety that I was getting around the city, around the state. And when college coaches started calling and college coaches started coming to the house, that's when they knew that things were getting pretty serious and I was pretty good at what I was doing. So the support was naturally there. Just as long as I kept my grades in check, then they were fine. But it was pretty cool watching my parents, start coming to the games and get really excited about the games, and watching my dad scream and cheer at the games because he normally doesn't really show a lot of emotion. So watching him get real excited at the games is pretty cool.
Okay, let's now start with your national team career. Been around for a long that we've even forgotten when you started playing for Nigeria. Tell us how the journey started for you.
Well, the journey should have started for me. The first time I got approached by the national team was probably like in 2006. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to play because I had some requirements for my team at the time, which was the Golden State Warriors. But I always wanted to play, and I used to have guys reaching out to me asking me to play, but I always had something to do in the summertime. So finally, um, I was in LA working out at the time, and Ime came up to me, and he was like, "Man, we have a really good team." He's like, "I just feel like you're the missing link, and if we have you, we could definitely make some noise." And I was like, "All right, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play no matter what." So that was the first time that I played with the national team. So that would have been 2011, I believe. Um, yeah, 20. Yeah, I believe so. But unfortunately, I didn't get to play with Ime. He ended up, I believe, he ended up retiring and starting his career. So the first time joining the national team was on that epic run in Venezuela when we made history.
2015 AfroBasket title was the first medal for you with the national team, but you were injured for the better part of the. And then, going to the 2017 AfroBasket, you told us that winning as a playing staff will mean everything to you and give everything. But let's take a quick peek at 2015. How will you rate that medal for you that you didn't contribute so much on the court, but you won a medal
Mm-hmm.
compared to that of silver in 2017?
Well, 2015 was what was the pinnacle of all of our hard work, really. Um, we had kept the core group together finally, and it sucked that I got injured because I got injured right before we started competition. The game before ended up tearing my calf muscle in the exhibition game, and then I was out for the duration of the tournament. But the guys did a good job of keeping my spirits high because initially uh, I was sad. I was really sad because I knew that at that point that team was the greatest team that Nigeria had ever assembled because we had everything. Um, we literally had everything, and I knew that we were going to win the Afro Basket. That wasn't even a question. So it was sad because that team right there, we never really got to see our full potential because there was never a time when all of us were healthy and we all got to play together. Even when we went to the Olympics, we didn't have Farouk. So I just think that team right there just had everything. We had discipline, we had athleticism, we had shooting, we played defense, we played well. Our attention to detail was great. So uh, it was definitely bittersweet, but the guys, like I said, they did a great job, and they went on and they dominated, and they gave me a chance to be an Olympian again. And I always thank those guys to this day. So like I said, my only regret is that I got injured because to see that team at full full potential, I mean, there's no telling what that team would have been able to do. And I still think about that to this day. If we would have had Farouk and a healthy Shane uh, in the 2016 Olympics, what would we have done? Because even without those two, we were still in every contest. And the team that we do end up beating, Croatia, wins our group. So I just feel like if we were all 100% healthy, that team could have really made some noise in the Olympics.
2017, you were on fire, recording an average of 22 points per game, 8.7 rebounds, 0.7 assists for the team. Um, you became the competition's MVP. Um, then we came short. Then we won the silver. Do you think your hard work was well rewarded, or what we got was worthy of what you put in as an individual player?
I mean, 2017 was a very interesting year, but a fun year because that was the introduction of some of the younger players that you guys are going to see playing for years to come. Um, so to me, it was necessary that I come in 2017 because I missed all of 2015. I missed that whole tournament, and I wanted to be a part of the next African Championships, and I wanted to win, and I knew that we could win. Now, there was a bunch of things that happened within, federations switching over, coaching changes, and guys being notified late. So um, I felt that it was necessary for me to come because there was a bunch of guys that wanted to come, but they weren't able to come due to conflicts in their schedule. So it was necessary for me to be the guy to come and also to let people know that, hey, these guys did want to come, but it was just conflicts of schedule that allowed them not to come. So I had to be the voice to speak for everybody as well as let it be known that, hey, I want to be here too. And, we just went on an unbelievable run to me. Uh, both Ikes, Bryant, uh, who else was on that? Deji, Akin, I mean, Azoma. I mean, there's a bunch of guys on that team that, we played well. We played really well, and we went further than a lot of people predicted us to go. And I just think that at the end against Tunisia, we just kind of just ran out of gas just because the scheduling and they had experience over us. But for us, the championship game was against Senegal. That was one of the greatest teams that country has assembled. And, they were blowing everybody out. I mean, gosh, watching them play, I remember looking at the film and, I mean, they were just beating people 30, 40 points. I was like, wow. I mean, they had everybody. And I just remember that was our championship game. For us, we just knew that, this right here, this is who everybody thinks is the best team in the tournament. So if we beat these guys, then, we just, I feel like there's nobody else that can beat us. And due to scheduling, or I don't know how it happened, somehow Tunisia avoided Senegal. But I think personally, I don't think that Tunisia could have beaten Senegal. I think that we were the only team there that was capable of beating Senegal. And, we went out there and we proved it. We beat them. Unfortunately, like I said, we ran out of gas. Against Tunisia because if you look at it, from the semifinals to the finals, that turnaround was really short. And we played a really tough game against Senegal, a really emotionally draining game, and then we had to come back around and play Tunisia in Tunisia, and we still could have won, but we were young, and but still, it was a great tournament. It was a great tournament for the world and Africa to see, these up and coming Nigerian exciting guards.
Some trace the loss against Tunisia with the fact that we won the game against Senegal. Then because of that, a lot of the guys lost their head that okay, if we could Senegal, who were at that moment the tournament's favorite, um, Tunisia will be probably a cheap piece of cake. But do you share the same sentiment?
Say that one more time. Do we share the same sentiment that what?
The guys underrated Tunisia.
Nah, we didn't underrate Tunisia. We knew Tunisia was a good team. They had a good coach. Um, and they have good players. They have good players on their team. They have really good players. So I can't say we underrated them at all. But at the same time, that Senegal game was really big for us, just because they were so talented, and they had just ran through everybody. So that for us was a championship game. And Tunisia, I mean, we knew we could beat Tunisia. But like I said, they had a little bit more experience on us, and they had the crowd too, so it was tough.
Okay. After losing at the finals, how did you personally deal with that disappointment? Because that was probably your best tournament for Nigeria, your career. How did you deal with that disappointment that after all these things I did, I couldn't go home with the trophy?
Well, there was no disappointment at all because um, when I decided to play for the national team, the national team is the way that we look at it, and this is what me and Farouk and Alade talk about. When we joined the national team, the goal was to, one, we step down to have the national team to where people want to play for the national team. You don't have to beg anybody to come and play for the national team. You want all the top Nigerians to come and play for the national team. So since we've been part of the national team, we've been doing nothing but making history, from Olympics to World Championships to everything. So this was just another step in the right direction to making to raising awareness to play for the national team. So we finished in second place. Um, we didn't have the best of preparation. Nobody expected us to do what we did. So, we didn't have anything to hang our heads on because uh, the cards were stacked against us, and we went there and we almost pulled off what nobody thought we could pull off. So, it is nothing but positivity. It's nothing but positivity. And I'm looking forward to the next African championships because I know that the next time we come to, I believe it's Rwanda, the team that we take to Rwanda, we're going to look at a team like in 2015, but probably better. So each year, the goal for me is, as long as I'm playing, is to constantly keep saying, this is the best team Nigeria has put together. This is the best team Nigeria has put together. And to me, I feel like Rwanda is going to be like that. So people are going to be in for a nice show when they see the Nigerian team reassemble on the African continent again.
Um, let's look at this team now. Um, that we took to the World Cup in 2019. Man described it the team as the best ever assembled team when it comes to talent and then where they're playing. So, um, what is this newfound formula when it comes to Nigerian basketball? Special focus on the Blue Tigers.
You said, what's the new focus?
The newfound formula for these B Tigers with special regard to B Tigers because going to the World Cup, many referred to the team assembled as one of the best ever assembled in the history of Nigeria. Looking at the
Mm-hmm.
talent, the caliber of players, the teams that they were playing for at that time, and all that. Um, the formula for that.
Well, um, yes, I believe that team was probably the best team that Nigeria has assembled to this date. I'm going to say it's the best team that an African team has assembled because, once again, we had everything. Um, guard play, explosive scores. Uh, I mean, like I said, you had everything on that team. Big men, uh, everything. So once again, it's kind of like I was saying, the awareness of playing for the national team has been raised to where you have guys like Epe wanting to play. He's had his distinguished career. Michael Eric, Farouk, which is probably the one that everybody knows, and then you got players like Gabe, who nobody knew, and now he's playing in the NBA. Josh, and so we got more guys that want to play too. And for me, that was that's always the goal that I had in mind when playing for the national team, is to get to where it is now, to where we just have so much talent to where, you almost have to turn people down because we do have so much talent. So uh, I think that's the new formula, is guys that want to represent for Nigeria, guys that want to play for their country. And it's a beautiful thing.
Taking a look at that 2017 set that went to the Afro Basket, a lot of them never made a return to the team again. What went wrong with that 2017 set? Were they not good enough? Were they not given the fair chance of a second of coming back and proving themselves again, or it was just things just didn't work out?
Well, um, I think that for me, and this is going to partly answer your question, I hope anyway. So for me, I think that when it comes to the national team, I feel like for the senior men's team, we should kind of have like a team A and a team B, right? So we should have a team for guys maybe just under the national team that can still go out and compete for Nigeria at an extremely high level that are still part of the national team. I think that's what all have, and I don't see why Nigeria shouldn't have that that same thing. So it's not a matter of people not being good enough to play for Nigeria, but you have to know how many super talented Nigerians there are. I mean, there's some very, very good, talented Nigerians as we've seen. Um, so when you want to choose the best to represent Nigeria, I mean, it's a tough decision, and there's going to be some people that get left out, and it's not on purpose, but that's just competition, and that's just the way it is. So we want to see the best Nigerians on the team, and wherever they are, if they're based back home, if they're based in Europe, if they're based in the U.S., it doesn't matter. We want to see the very best Nigerians suit up for the country. That's what we want to see. So I think that some of the guys on I can't say what happened with some of the guys on the 2017 team. I feel like I'm a guy that's close with everybody. I like to play with everybody. I like talking to everybody. I like hanging out with everybody. So that's how I feel.
Okay. I've spoken to some of these guys on the Instagram live. I've spoken to them while in camp, and then they refer to you as the bigger brother when it comes to the national team. The focal point, the rallying point, probably influenced them to make up their mind to play for Nigeria. You made their stay in the national team comfortable. How do you cope with this pressure and this duty of being the brother to everyone?
Uh, I mean, for me, it's not pressure at all because everybody knows when you're on the national team. I generally care for everybody on the national team. I do consider all of them to be my brothers, and at the same time, I know it's a sacrifice that you take when you come and play for the national team. Injuries are part of the game. You could get injured. It's a lot of things. You're taking time away from your family. So I feel like it's my job to make you feel as comfortable as possible and to let you know that yeah, this is a brotherhood, and at the same time, we have to work when we come here with the national team, but we're also going to enjoy ourselves and we're going to have a good time. And, I'm always going to make sure that everybody's taken care of no matter what. I feel like that's my job. That's my calling is to raise awareness for the national team. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job with that, but there's still more to do. Because like I said, when I step down, I know that everything I've done, all the injuries I've played through, everything has been to get Nigeria to be one of the best teams in the world, not just to be a giant of Africa, but to be a giant of the entire world.
You've had your fair share of injuries um, while playing your professional basketball, whatever. What do you? How do you cope with these injuries when you're out and then you see others playing basketball and then you can't go on the court, you can't even this frustration. How do you deal with it in terms of trying to advise people behind you?
Yeah, it's tough. You got to be you just got to be mentally strong because unfortunately injuries are a part of the game, and they do happen. So it's important that when the injuries do happen, kind of just like in 2015, you got to be there mentally for your guys. Um, and that's how I try to cope with everything. I just always try to be positive and make the most out of the situation because at the end of the day, that's all you can do. Unfortunately, injuries happen. I would have loved to be able to play my entire career without having any injuries, but it just hasn't happened that way. It didn't happen that way, and you just gotta you take the good with the bad because I've also had some really good moments on the court with the national team as well.
Um, for a player who made a decision to play for Nigeria without being forced, you made your decision to play for Nigeria. I so I support the NBA. you've had everything when it comes to being a basketball player. Why do you think it's difficult for Nigerians playing in Europe and also in America to play for Nigeria?
Well, the number one thing I feel like is earlier on, there's always been negativity surrounding the Nigerian national team for whatever reason. You know, there's always been a dark cloud associated with Nigeria in terms of some the treatment and those type of things. So that is the goal when we came on board, is to let everybody know that, hey, it's okay to play for Nigeria. You have these big stars. You have Farouk. You have Josh. You have other guys that are playing in Europe. Hey, all these guys are playing. These are big guys with big contracts, and they're playing for Nigeria. They're getting treated well. Insurance and everything is taken care of. So there is no negative anymore for playing for Nigeria. And I think the more that we keep on getting high-profile players to play, the more people will see that it is okay. But initially, people that haven't even played for Nigeria have bad things to say about Nigeria. And, I'm not sure why that is. But, we're just trying to raise awareness that, hey, you know what? Things are changing, things are different, and it's okay to play for Nigeria. And you might be surprised when you come down here, because you will have some fun and, some of the best fans in the world. And at the end of the day, it's nothing like playing for your country.
At the World Cup in China, what went wrong with Ike Diogu? Where did Ike Diogu go?
Well, I was dealing with a couple of injuries myself, so I wasn't 100%. I think everybody knew that, but at the same time, when you sign up to play for the national team, you sign up to play, and I wasn't gonna make any excuses. I went out there on, I wasn't 100%, but I felt that I needed to be there because I had asked so many people to come and join. So I just didn't want to pull out at the end, and I didn't have my greatest tournament with the national team, which sucks because I probably won't get another chance to play in the World Championships realistically. Um, I gave it all I had. But luckily, guys like Epe and Michael Eric and Chimezie picked up the slack, Farouk as well. And we were able to get another Olympic bid. So that's pretty much what happened, man. I was dealing with a couple of aches and pains, some minor things that allowed me not to really be myself. And that's what happened.
Okay, the performance of the team overall now, how will you describe it? Some said we underperformed. Some said we did what we could do. But as a leader of the team, do you feel any feeling of being let down, or you didn't achieve what you wanted to achieve?
Well, were we disappointed? Yes, we were disappointed because we all knew what we had in that room and what we were capable of doing. So was it disappointing not being able to medal? Yeah, because we all fully expected to medal. That wasn't even up for discussion. I mean, it's a reason why FIBA had us ranked so high coming into the tournament, because if you look at this team, man, this team has a lot of firepower. Like I said, it's the best African team ever assembled. There's no arguing that. There's no nothing. I don't think there's no other African team that was ranked as high as we were coming into the tournament, because people knew. And then also, some of the games that we played in, we played some good teams, some good European teams, and we won. So we fully expected to have a great showing. You know, we fully expected to beat Russia. To me, we're a better team than Russia. We just didn't play good down the stretch. But if we had to play that game over and over again, absolutely, I think we beat Russia. You know, we fully expected to beat Argentina. Um, and, you know, we played them close and they went all the way to the championship. So it was disappointing from a standpoint that, like I said, we didn't get a medal. But the other flip side of that was there was an Olympic bid on the line. So the goal coming into China was we're going to get a medal. We're going to be the first African team to get a medal, and we're going to go back to the Olympics. Um, since we joined the national team, we've always said this: there should never be a time when Nigeria ever misses the Olympics, ever. So we didn't accomplish our first goal, but at the same time, you know, we didn't want to we don't want to make we don't want to just waste the trip. So now, how did we waste the trip? We waste the trip by not getting an Olympic bid either. So we still got an Olympic bid, and guys are still hungry, and there's still a lot left to prove. So, you know, it's half and half. Disappointing because we didn't get a medal, but at the same time, you know, we took care of business, and we were able to go out and, you know, make history again. We're going to our third Olympics, so you know, we just can't. That can't be. There's nothing bad about going to the Olympics. There's people that have never been to the Olympics, so we get to go for a third time. So we're extremely excited about that.
You spoke about the Olympics now, we've qualified, but that has been postponed to 2021. The impact of that or the implication of that for some of these players like the Jakindele, who is 38, or someone like Ike Diogu, who is 37, and then they are they are they are wrapping up their careers. What is the implication for you guys?
No implication at all. You know, it just gives us another year to continue to keep on improving and training. And you know, it's still the same. It's still the same thing. You know, at the same time, we know that we cannot play forever, unfortunately. Um, so whenever it is our time to go, we know that we've done so much for the national team, and the national team is going to be in great hands. So you know, it's nothing to be sad about. Mission accomplished for us. For Deji, you know, he played. He's done his role as an ambassador for Nigerian basketball. Farouk, myself, Alade, you know, all those guys, all of us. So I mean, obviously they're younger than us, but you know, if it is, if next year Olympics is the end, you know, it's been great, and I look forward to watching, you know, all of my younger brothers playing and dominating and lifting trophies, and that's how I feel. So you know, we're not sad about anything. We're not sad about anything because when we joined, we did exactly what we're supposed to do.
Any target going to the Olympics? Or it's too early to
Any what?
target going to the Olympics, or it's too early
Any
as a
target?
target?
What do you mean target? You mean as far as
Podium
finishing?
podium finish, just go there to compete, top eight, top seven, and all that.
Oh yeah,
Any target?
the goal is always to medal. The goal is always to medal. You know, I think we're past the point of going to the Olympics to enjoy the festivities. That was in 2012. You know, when we shocked the world and we went to the Olympics and didn't know what was going on. You know, so uh, each year has gotten better and better and more experience, and we know what it takes. We know the level of preparation. Um, how dedicated you have to be in order to get on the podium. So uh, we're going to roll out the best team that not only Nigeria, but Africa has seen once again. And we're going to improve on our mistakes that we made in China. And I expect us to have a good showing. Like I said, the team is going to be 100%. Everybody's going to be healthy. You know, we all got a full year to, you know, recoup and get fresh. And I expect us to do extremely well. I really, honestly do expect us to do extremely well at the Olympics.
A lot of new guys coming on board, the likes of Josh Mokogie, Metu Chimeze, um, Jordan Ora, and all that. With a lot of the guys also making themselves available for the next NBA draft. In the next 5 years, where do you see this?
In the next 5 years, Nigerian basketball should be exploding. I mean, just in this draft alone, it's like eight. I believe it's like eight first rounders in the draft alone. So it's exciting times for Nigerian basketball, to be honest with you. And I'm excited. So hopefully, in the next 5 years, I get to transition from playing on the national team to helping develop some of these young guys. That's what like I said, that's what I feel like my goal is and my calling. And in the next 5 years, Nigeria's got to be a top five world power, a force to be reckoned with. And I feel like it should be like that on all levels, from our youth teams, even our women's teams. We're not even just talking about men's. I'm just talking about across the board. Nigeria should be a top five, power as long as we continue to develop these young emerging stars. And we also have to start talking to some of these guys earlier to make sure that Victor Oladipo wants to play for Nigeria. Andre Iguodala wants to play for Nigeria. The greatest Nigerian of one of the greatest basketball players of all time, and certainly the greatest Nigerian basketball player of all time, Hakeem. We want to have the infrastructure and everything set up. So never again will we ever have somebody like Hakeem playing for Team USA. That could just never happen again. One of the greatest players Nigerians own playing for Team USA. So, I feel like that falls on us as well, the younger guys, because these guys coming in the draft, they know who we are and they look up to us. And so, we want to be able to reach out to these guys and make sure that they know, this is where you want to play, man. And it's okay to represent your home, to represent your home country. We'll take care of you. Everything is going to be run first class. And we're going to go out and have a lot of fun, win medals, and make history.
Um, Now that you've spoken about your life after basketball, trying to develop these guys, trying to make sure that Nigerian basketball become um, great and attain new heights. Now let's talk about what you intend to do when you retire. Are you thinking of coaching? Are you thinking of becoming a scout? Are you thinking of becoming an intermediary? What do you see yourself doing?
Well, I mean, I would like to really. I would just like to do all of the above. Really, I wouldn't mind coaching. I would love to coach. I would love to coach a youth team. I would love that. I would love to be a part of the administration. Um, so I just really want to do whatever it takes to continue to develop Nigerian basketball, especially on the grassroots level as well. Um, get some of these guys early, when they're 13, 14. I want to be able to develop the best talent that's in Nigeria, the best talent that's in Europe, the best talent that's in the USA, and combine all these guys, get them playing together at an early age. And when I mean at an early age, I'm talking about as teenagers. Not coming together when we're 20, 21, but coming together when we're 14, 15, and really just developing the things that they do in Spain and all that. There's no reason why, like I said, we can't be a top five world power, because our genetic makeup, nobody else in the world possesses that. And I just think we need to take advantage of that. Um, and that's what I want to be a part of. That's the vision that I have. And so far, everything is going really well.
We know that it's always kind of difficult when you have to work under some when they see all these things that you've highlighted. Now, are you thinking of the nearest future vying for the presidency of the MBBF and then following the footsteps of other retired players around the world?
I would, you know, I honestly, I would love to one day be the president of the NBBF. That would be if, in a perfect world, I would absolutely love to be in charge and to really put my blueprint down and to really develop things the way that I know they can be developed. But I also know that that's really hard and it's really tough, and it might not happen. But either way, I still want to be able to have my blueprint on the national team because I've literally I paid my dues for the national team, and it's been an honor serving the national team. And really, I want to continue to serve and develop in any way, shape, or form that I can. Really for the rest of my life. That's how I feel.
Why do you think it's going to be hard for you to become MBBF president?
Um, as with anything, there's politics in anything. So, without getting into too much detail, uh, it's
I
a job.
guess
It's a job that everybody wants, right? So naturally, it's gonna be hard. It's not. I can't just all of a sudden just stop and then stop playing, and then the next year I become president. It's a hard job because it's a job that a lot of people want. I'm not the only person who wants to become president of the federation. So yeah, long term, I would absolutely love to run the federation. I would love for um, I would love to see more guys that I played with that are coaches to be implemented in the development of Nigerian basketball. The Chamberlains, the Tony Skins, those guys who played well on the national team. These guys are all coaches. So I would love to see them um, given roles to help develop the youth of Nigeria. I just think that that's how it should go. We're all Nigerians. We all have one common goal, and so that's how I feel.
um, we know that running MBBF is a huge task, which means possibly you have to come back to Nigeria and live in Nigeria. You know that you've been sacrificing for Nigerian basketball for basically all your life. Is this a sacrifice that you are willing and ready to take if you have to relocate to Nigeria to
Absolutely,
run basketball?
absolutely, absolutely. I don't mind. I don't mind going back and living in Nigeria. You know, I feel comfortable when I'm in Nigeria, so I have no problem doing that. Um, and 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 you should live in Nigeria if you're the president. So to develop the local league and to develop all things considered Nigerian basketball, absolutely, you have to be um, in the trenches, so to speak. So being in Nigeria, going around, showing face, and letting people know how sincere I am about everything. So yes, absolutely, I would love to do that.
Okay, moving forward, you have played for the country, for a very long time. What is the secret of this your consistency? Every time you turn out fine. Every time you step on the court, you're on fire. Every time you step on court, you're ready to do your best. What's the secret of this your level of consistency?
Uh, Pride. That's really all it is. It's pride for being a Nigerian. Like I said, being a captain and being able to represent at the highest level. It's a huge honor for me. I get to represent all Nigerians, and I get to represent. I get to represent my village. I get to represent so many millions of people. So I just try to go out there and give it my all, and I think it's a huge honor. As I said before, it's a huge honor and one that I don't take lightly. So every time I step on the court, especially when I have my Nigerian jersey on, I try to give it my all.
Um, the current set of players that we have on ground, who do you think will be the new Diogu when you retire in terms of consistency, dedication, and patriotism?
Who do I think will what?
Be the new Diogu when you retire in terms of dedication, consistency, and patriotism?
Ah, man, that's a tough one.
Made of,
That's a
made of,
that's a tough
made
question
of,
because you have obviously you have my brother Farouk, who joined the national team with me, and he's done some great things, and he's a real advocate for Nigerian basketball. He hosts a camp in Nigeria. He's real passionate about all things covering Nigeria. So my brother Farouk. I also think Chimezie is is a very exciting player who bleeds green and white. Who's very dedicated and passionate about playing for the national team. And for me, I don't only want to see people show up to the big tournaments, but I want to see you playing everything, because that lets me know, your true dedication. So I want to see you play in the All Africa games. I want to see you play in the Commonwealth games. I want to see you play in the African Championships. When we signed up, I didn't only sign up just to go to the Olympic qualifiers or to go to the World Championships. You know, I've literally dedicated my summer and everything to Nigerian basketball. So that's why people see me playing in some of these tournaments and they're like, "Man, what are you doing?" And it's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? This is what I signed up for. So that's what that is the true the true definition of being a true advocate for Nigerian hoops is you got to go playing everything. I don't only want to see you playing the big tournaments. I want to see you playing everything. And my man Farouk, as long as there's no conflicts or whatever, I feel like he's like that type of guy. I mean, obviously it's different for him. Being an NBA player, he doesn't have the same flexibility as I have to play in everything. But as long as there's no conflicts in his schedule, you can definitely count on him. So everybody knows how close I am with him. That's definitely my brother for life. So I would say him, and then after him, I would say Chimezie. But there's some other guys too. So I don't want any of the other guys who are paying attention to think I let them out. So I feel like everybody would be like that. Everybody would be like that. But off the top of the head, I gotta roll with my man Farouk just because he's been down with me and we've been battling side by side since the very beginning.
Okay. I know that if I have to ask you, I think one of our viewers is asking who should be the next when you leave that. But we know that our Farouk's schedule might not allow him to always come around for competitions like probably All African Games, some of the qualifiers, because right now and then for the next foreseeable years, it's still gonna be in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think should be next captain of the national team?
uh, I don't know. This is that's tough. That's tough. I mean,
Let me call you back. They've taken the lights.
okay.
I'll call.
All right.